we were negotiating for the deal with this 11-bedroom house in Hackney. This deal that could make or break the business. Mm-hmm. Literally, it was our biggest deal. And I remember being sat in a Bible study with Tossin and Dom, and my phone was buzzing. And I picked it up and speaking to my business partner. Obviously, he was like, "Can you not become a Christian when you're old?"
Right.
I need you now. I need all your
cash right now.
Yeah, really.
He's like, you need to be all hands on deck on this deal.
Right.
And I remember,
he's right on one level. Obviously.
Yeah. And I remember I had to say to him there and then, I don't think we've actually spoken about this.
Since.
Watch this.
But I remember he was like, "Look, what is more important to you, the business or God?" And I had to say, I said, God. And then I put the phone down.
Hi guys, my name is Michelle.
My name is Michael.
We are here for the
M&M Show. And we have an amazing man on the show today. If you're in East London, he is a lad. If you're in West London, he's the guy. He's incredible. Matt Richardson is here today. He wants to be one of the very first of many that really can be able to say, I've become a millionaire, not because I love God, but because I really want to build up the kingdom of God. I want to rebrand what it means to be a single professional in God's eyes here in the United Kingdom. It's awesome having you here on the show.
Yes. Pleasure to be here.
Welcome.
Thank you for inviting me on.
Matt. And before we go on, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment below, guys. We need your support, and that's how you guys can show it like now.
Yes, and I happen to know Matt. He's in better shape than me. I just wanted a little confession right there. And he is dating relationship?
Yes.
Just started dating.
Just started dating. Got a girl. So sorry, sisters. Okay. So millionaires in the UK. We got to talk about this. I got some stats for you. I know you're a business owner. I want you to tell us all about it. I want you to inspire the others that are out there that think the only sold out, quote unquote, man of God is in the full-time ministry and isn't a profession. I want to get rid of that narrative. But when I think about this whole principle of ministry of millionaire, I think about the millionaire exodus. First we got Exodus in the Bible, but there's been a millionaire exodus here in the UK.
Oh yeah.
2022, 1,600 millionaires left the UK. 2023, 4,200 millionaires left the UK. 2024, 10,800 millionaires depart. 157% increase from 2023, putting the UK at the second most, next to, I believe, China, probably, as far as departure from, people just wealth just like taking off and leaving. A lot of issues behind that, or ideas. I'm not an economist, but I just read taxes, political issues. Everything has really affected it, and it looks like most people are going to Dubai.
Yep. Yeah.
That millionaires, I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah.
America, Dubai.
By the weather. So
exactly.
You got to go somewhere where it's nice.
Exactly. So that's what's happening as far as the exodus here in the United Kingdom of the millionaires. But you have a different idea, not only as a man of God.
Yeah, you're not departing.
You're not leaving us, are you?
No.
Okay, you're not leaving us. Okay.
Plan to go to Dubai.
Okay, great. But you have a unique ideology behind wanting to not only help ministry and help the fabric of the United Kingdom from an economic standpoint, but of course from a spiritual standpoint. Tell us about what you do and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, sure. So I run a service accommodation management company. Essentially, I'm in real estate. I'm in property. A lot of landlords are moving to doing short stays, doing the Airbnb kind of model because of increases in interest rates and whatnot. It's starting to get to a point where landlords just aren't really making what they need to make, letting things the normal way.
Yep.
And so I jumped into this space about 16 months ago with my business partner who has been in lettings for about 5 years. And so we're growing in London and around London, Hertfordshire, Essex. With a goal to expand across the nation. We've come pretty far, even just in the last year, from managing like about 2 properties to now managing over 36 units.
Wow.
One of the houses is an 11-bedroom house in Hackney. And yeah, honestly, there's been... I've been inspired. This is honestly just coming from where I was before, because my background's actually in engineering. So
what type of engineering?
So energy engineering.
Energy, like green.
Yeah, like green energy. So I was in the.
Are you the green energy vegan type of guy? Was that it?
That was what I was.
Was who you were.
Oh, that's who you were. Okay. Sorry, I don't want to be offensive.
No, that's all right.
You were unbelieving as well.
Yeah. So I went in that direction, and then I was working as a consultant. Worked in 2 startups.
Yeah.
In that kind of space.
Yeah.
But I was like, we were serving the real estate sector, shall we say. Like, they were our clients. And I got to the point where I was like, wow, like, if these guys have all the money and they make all the decisions, why don't I just go on their side? And I was seeing that was a bit of a trend anyway. Like, a lot of the developers were hiring in-house energy teams. So I was like, okay, well, I want to learn more about what's going on over here. And that was also the time where I was putting a lot of time into thinking about, okay, how do I end up starting my own business? Because I'd worked in startups, I'd been around with.
How do I do it on my own?
Yeah, I'd been close to the founders of the startups I worked with, because they were my managers, and I was like, well, how do I do this?
Can't be that hard.
Yeah, I got to that space where I was like, I was rubbing shoulders with the managers, the directors every day. Yeah, just getting to a space where where can I like?
You want to be partner. I mean, this resonates with me. This is one of the reasons I even got into the ministry. I asked my boss goes, hey, I brought on 13 clients and it took me 14 years to do it. I got an IBM and Microsoft and all. I go, hey, I brought on 13 in a year. What do you think I'm going to do in 2 years? Please, can I have half the company? He goes, I'm not giving you half the company, but I'll give you a healthy. So I can relate to that, where you're right there with the guy who's doing it going, hey, I think I can do this. Yeah. And obviously when you have God on your side, that's a different story, but continue.
Yeah. So then I started looking into, okay, what can I do? What skills do I have? Not necessarily coming into the energy space, because to be honest, it's a complex space. And I studied it, did my master's there, and I worked in the industry for 3 years. But I couldn't really find something that wasn't already been doing. So that a company wasn't already doing. Yeah. So a lot of companies are going into ESG. Do you know about ESG? So it's essentially like, that's like the carbon counting. And a lot of companies are going in that direction because there's a lot of grants. The government support a lot of companies.
Yeah, but isn't that more like over here? Is that where the ESG stuff is?
Europe.
Yeah, Europe. That's what
Europe, yeah. So the UK and European countries as well, because there's a lot of regulations coming in. So it's like, okay, well, I'm not going to go and start another ESG company. So let me think smaller than that. What can I do? So like, okay, well, I could be a personal trainer. Like I've trained in the gym for a couple of years. Maybe I can do that. And I looked into digital marketing. It's like, okay, cryptocurrency. What can I learn here? Yeah. And at the time, I started to watch a lot of Andrew Tate. He was blowing up. Right?
Andrew Tate.
Yeah. And
we got to baptize Andrew. Andrew, we got to baptize you. Okay.
You are next.
You are next. Okay. We got to baptize you in Jesus' name. Okay. So you started watching, you got red pilled.
I got red pilled.
We got to talk about that.
So that was your spirituality, probably. It's kind of like it gave you a sense of purpose or identity, maybe?
Yeah. It made me see that there was more to life that I hadn't found yet. And that was my initial
aha moment.
Attraction
entry,
to it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, there's more.
It's like, wow, okay, there's more to just going to work, getting back, doing that every day until I have a family, and then continuing to do it until I retire. And then I was looking at my paycheck, and I was like, working alongside people that have been in the industry for, say, 10, 15 years. I'm thinking, you're not earning that much more than me.
Wow.
It's like, wow, I did.
It's a bit depressing.
Yeah. It's like I studied for 4 years, did my master's in energy engineering, went to Exeter Uni.
It's a good school.
Cornwall. Yeah. I was like, wow, I've done all of this, and this is what I've got to show for it. This is my life. So I need to do something radical. I need to completely change course. So that was why when Andrew Tate came up, and he was saying, okay, young men, you need to start businesses. You need to learn how to make money, learn that the system is rigged, find out a way to to go against the grain because society are pushing you in one direction because they want to keep you poor.
Right.
So obviously I hooked onto that. And at the time I didn't have many other role models. So I hooked onto everything he said.
Right. And you swallowed it whole.
Swallowed it whole.
Well, that's good because you're an all-or-nothing guy. I think
I like that about
anything in
you
life
too.
does need to be, you put your whole heart into it.
Exactly. Yeah. So then, so I was looking into that. It's like, okay. And then I found there was a guy doing property investment crash courses for £1. I was like, well, that's low investment. Let me go. And I went there to the crash course. And as I got to the crash course, I met a 16-year-old that made $6,000 in like 2 months of just being in the right WhatsApp groups and messaging people saying, hey, I'm not even that fussed about making money. I just want to learn. And someone took him under his wing. He helped him tie up 2 deals because he lived in Liverpool and the investor who he was working with lived in Cornwall. So he just did viewings in Liverpool and helped negotiate, like obviously with advice. He was only 16, made $6,000 like that. First guy I met.
Wow.
Yeah. So for those of you watching, lettings are rentals. Okay. If you're in the UK or US or so 16-year-old making quick cash. So continue. So
amazing.
So I met this guy and I was like, okay, I now know straight away that whatever I'm going into is not a scam. Like this, if you look for it, if you put yourself in the right places, you will make money. You will make it happen.
It's doable.
And so, so I went to the crash course. Ended up paying for training.
That's where they got you. That's the hook.
That's the hook.
Yeah. Okay. Because I was like, £1.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense. Okay.
That's the funnel.
Smart. Yeah.
Like a lot of sales gurus these days, right? They get you in with like a £1, and then you have like a medium ticket, and you have a high ticket sales course.
Yeah.
I just did the medium ticket, and then networked with everybody, got everybody's numbers, and then got to the point where I was like, okay, I don't need to do the high ticket because I know enough people doing the high ticket.
Clean off them. Yeah.
So that's what I did. And then through that, someone that I'd met who went on to do the high ticket sales training, we started to meet up, and we started to get a bunch of people in a room who he thought were like actually about it, actually wanting to give their whole heart. And one of those guys is now the guy that I have partnered with to start a business with.
Wow.
So then we started a business together in December 23. And of course, that was around the same time that I started studying the Bible.
Oh, you got red pilled, but then you got red pilled the right way, the blood of Jesus. That's the better red pill to take.
How did you come about the studies during this time? Because you're probably very busy.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing.
Yeah, but you're a movement kind of guy. So green movement, I think even vegan movement.
Yeah.
To God's movement.
Yeah,
tell me about that. Yeah. Let's hear that.
Yeah, I guess the thing is that there's so many angles to my story that you can take. You can take the business angle. You can take the angle with my relationship. You can take the angle with even what you're saying now. Is I've always been
passionate.
Yeah, very passionate. When I go into something, I give my whole heart. I've never really cared about people's opinions.
That's awesome.
I remember when I was studying the Bible, having the conversation about, hey, the people are gonna persecute you if you become a Christian, and I laughed. I was like,
you felt great about that.
Like,
they're gonna call you a cult. You're in a cult. You're like,
I've been in a cult for years, so it's fine.
I actually remember hearing that story. One of the brothers shared it. You laughed and you're like, I'm already in a cult, vegan cult or whatever.
Yeah,
but that's YouTube nowadays. Everything is a cult. You can't. Anytime you want a degree, it must be a cult. Cult. People.
Anything that's against the norm is a cult.
Exactly, and I've done activism for animal rights as well.
Okay,
and I've led groups in that area as well. So it's like I've already had the public hurl insults at me and all this stuff. It's all I'm used to.
Part of life.
But you were seeking purpose. You want to be excellent as a single, but you're also, and that's what I like about this story is you're like, okay, I'm not just I want to be excellent. I want to do something with my career, but I'm seeking purpose. And I like this point here that you make about how how God ministry and millionaire, how those two things dovetail together. But yeah, tell us about how you chose the movement of God, dare we say, or God's the Bible.
So it's really interesting because no one actually met me on the street. But in fact, a friend of mine, you might know him, his name's Ned.
That's right.
He was met on...
I forgot about that.
He's like the friend of the church.
You're met by the guy. That's
Ned.
right. Ned has been fruitful like 4 times, and he hasn't even been baptized. He's the only atheist that's got more fruit than other members of the church.
Than me this year.
Oh my goodness, Ned has been. That's
He's
right. I forgot about that.
me.
Yeah.
Ned outcranked me this year. Man, Ned, you need to get baptized.
He's
Ned.
a friend of the church.
That's
Yeah,
right. He is.
God uses him.
Exactly. So we used to do animal rights activism together. So I knew him from way before.
Ned's awesome too. He is controversial.
He's got a big
I like
heart,
him though.
Yeah.
So he had been coming to the church.
So he got met by Dom
Yeah.
and got invited to Bible talk.
Okay.
And we'd had a conversation recently about, because both atheists, but also both very deep thinkers. And I said, Ned, imagine if we could just believe in God. Could you imagine
Really?
that? It's like, how much different would our lives be? It's like, I can't imagine it. It's like I can't imagine it.
That's what Ned said?
Just think,
he still
just
can't.
think about
He
it.
still can't.
Yeah.
It's okay. We're praying for Ned. He will one day.
I know.
It's like, just think about it. Imagine that and I thought about it almost from the red pill standpoint.
Right.
Of imagine if God is watching everything you do.
Yep.
He knows your thoughts. He knows your actions. You can't hide anything from him. Imagine how much more disciplined you'd be. That was the
Wow.
angle that I thought of it. I was like, if I believed in God, I would be an unstoppable machine because I would be accountable to something
Now.
Right.
constantly.
Right.
So Ned then got met by Dom and he said, you were just talking about this. He's inviting me to this faith discussion. Do you want to come? And so I picked him up at Richmond Station. We drove there and that was when I met Dom.
Oh my goodness. And I remember that.
And what were your thoughts first?
I was like, wow, this is so
loved-
interesting. Yeah.
Awesome.
I was
Something in you was like, yeah.
You're intrigued.
So I grew up atheist. So this is the first time I heard scriptures from the Bible. I was like, wow, is it that practical to actually say that? Show me. Yeah.
Wow.
Wow. So you'd never set foot in a church before?
Never.
Never opened the word of God?
Never.
So what made you think about God all of a sudden? Did you see something online?
I had lots of Muslim friends.
Okay.
And I used to train in the Pure Gym, like attached to East London Mosque. And so all my friends from the gym were Muslim.
Yep.
And so I would have conversations and almost debates with them. They were saying, Matt, you're moving your moral goalposts. It's like, you think that this is right. And then they used to get me on the vegan angle. They were like, why are you doing this? But then they would talk to me about how I was treating women as well.
Wow.
And they would say, you need to have a standard that goes beyond your own logic because you can logic your way out of anything. And having been in the animal rights scene, debating people as a vegan, I could justify anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
I never went to Speaker's Corner, but I could have had,
Yeah.
I loved it as well.
Yeah, you like to argue.
Debating,
yeah.
And so that's what got me thinking. It's like, wow, there's something else.
Wonderful.
But you wanted to Christ, luckily.
Yeah,
saw that.
Exactly.
Yeah, but when you first
could
came,
easily just headed into the Muslim
you
mosque.
first came, there was a guy that stood on the stage and he was going to go on a mission team. And he found out that the mission team wasn't God's plan and that he needed to not go on that team. And so he met Luke Snow, and Luke had some of his members of his mission team leave, and this guy just shows up and goes, "Okay, I want to join you," and join you. And so it was the day he got baptized.
That's right.
Yeah.
And then,
Irish Center.
yes, at the Irish Center, and he was up there going, "I'm willing to go anywhere, do anything, give up everything for Jesus." And you were in the audience. I remember giving you a hug afterwards. You saw a white ghost. You're like this.
This is radical.
This is intense. And then you laughed, didn't you?
Yeah.
You were like, I can't do that.
Oh,
that was my
they're gonna
first
ask
time
me
at
to do the
church.
same
That
thing.
was his first time at church.
Was it your first time?
At church, in any church.
It
It's my
scared
first
the
time.
daylights out of you.
Yeah.
You went from Mr. Vegan. Oh no, Jesus. This is challenging.
Oh,
I was like, wow, this guy is more radical than me.
Oh, you came face to face with someone else that was, that was good for your manhood.
Yeah.
It's kind of like humbled you.
Yeah, and he
Brilliant.
was willing to give up everything. And at this point, I was like, I think I'd just done Seeking God.
Yeah, you
Right.
And I was like, so that is what Seeking God, my whole heart looks like.
Wow.
I have to give up everything. And
You started tracking quickly.
tracked.
I wasn't ready to take it at that point.
No, sure. You hadn't had a lot of faith yet, my brother. I don't blame you.
Exactly.
You had no faith.
Been to maybe 2 or 3 Bible talks, go to church, sat in the front row. I remember it was Tossin that invited me. And I remember seeing his Bible talk on the left side. They all waved at me at the same time. I'm sat in the front with people I don't know.
Right.
Oh, no.
Right.
It's like very vulnerable.
Yeah, it was
Out
an
of your
intense
comfort
experience.
zone.
Okay, so fast forward. You become a Christian.
About a
And
month later, 2 months later?
Long time
Young.
later.
A long
8 months,
time.
almost a year.
Irish Centre was, that was like August 23. And then I had my first opportunity to start the business came in September. And that was when I kind of stopped replying to the brothers. I was like,
Yeah, but okay.
Easily distracted.
So you became a Christian, but then I think the thing that I think some of the viewers are going to want to hear is how being a Christian helped your business kind of kick off. And then you kind of, hey, you know, what if this thing could make enough money to put me in the full-time ministry and I could really make an impact in England here. Maybe tell us about that. Because there's other professionals out there that want ministry or millionaire. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I would say that God put me under the gun straight away in my Bible studies because we'd recently started the business. My business partner, he understands it a little bit more, but at the time he didn't really understand what I was doing. He's like, okay, why are you studying the Bible? Like this was at the point in time where we were negotiating for the deal with this 11-bedroom house in Hackney. This deal that could make or break the business. Literally, it was our biggest deal. And I remember being sat in a Bible study with Tossin and Dom, and my phone was buzzing. And I picked it up and speaking to my business partner. Obviously, he was like, "Can you not become a Christian when you're old?"
Right.
I need you now. I need all your
cash right now.
Yeah, really.
He's like, you need to be all hands on deck on this deal.
Right.
And I remember,
Which is right on one level. Obviously.
yeah. And I remember I had to say to him there and then. I don't think we've actually spoken about this.
If you watch this,
But I remember he was like, "Look, what is more important to you, the business or God?" And I had to say, I said, God. And then I put the phone down and continued studying. And we managed to get the deal anyway.
Still got the deal.
God blessed you. God blessed it. God
and so
blessed it.
from that moment, before I even became a disciple, I was given that test. What are you going to do? Are you going to run away from your Bible studies? And you know, it's like, God's like, I'm going to give you this opportunity. You've been waiting to start a business for years. You've put so many hours into looking to see what to do. Here is the golden ticket that's going to get you your freedom.
Wow.
Freedom from sin.
Right. Eternal life.
And I'm so glad, thank God that I made that decision on that day. And this was a perpetual thing. It was like, obviously, had the conversation afterwards. It's like, no, God is more important. My Bible studies are more important.
And I think what you just crystallized it. Why are so many people afraid of Christians who are millionaires? It's because they're afraid of people loving money more than God, instead of really honestly wanting to affect change around the globe with the excellence in the capital. And, we just went to the Hertfordshire center, a conference center where we found out the owner was the guy who started Barclays Bank.
Wow.
And he wanted to use his millions to leave an impact.
Yes.
So that the buildings
donated it to a Christian charity that could be used for retreats.
And he has a building that's not listed, so you can build onto it. You don't have to deal with the things you have to deal with the UK.
Building.
Yes, you have to deal with the UK government. So here's a guy. I'm going, wow, we need some guys that want to make millions to help build up Christianity in this country. Is that part of your psyche now?
Yeah, exactly. Because before I became a Christian, my goal was, okay, I just want to be free from like wage slavery. I'm sure you've heard that term.
Right.
And it got to the point where I was like, okay, well, why am I starting a business? Why am I building the business? Do I just want to get financially free and that's it?
Right.
Well, I got that in like my first deal almost,
Wow.
I'd say financially free, just in a position where I I became my own boss, and I had a business that was able to pay the bills.
Sustain you.
So what was driving me beyond that? It's like, yeah, like, and what was funny at the time was that there was a big crescendo when I became a disciple. One of the things that happened was I bought my friend's Mercedes, right? And it was only like a 20-year-old Mercedes. But I remember going from driving a Mazda before that to driving a black Mercedes. I was like, wow, this is amazing.
I'm a business owner and now I have a black Mercedes.
Literally, I became a disciple, a business owner, driving a black Mercedes. And before I knew it, I was like, okay, this is great, but it's still not. It
wasn't. You still weren't peaked. You were like, okay.
It's like, okay, maybe I get a newer Mercedes.
Right.
Maybe if I grow the
prison of want.
Yeah, but then I just saw straight away, I was like, that's not going to satisfy me. It doesn't matter what car I have. It doesn't matter how big the business is. It doesn't matter how many nice holidays I go on. I've never been a big holiday person anyway.
Unlike most British people.
Yeah. So it's like, okay, well, what's actually going to motivate me to get to the next level? It's like, okay, I even had this realization that even if I give my family £1 million, and I haven't spoken to them about this as well, but I've already had this thought experiment
right?
Of like, if I gave them £1 million, they wouldn't be happy. I know they wouldn't.
Wow.
Exactly.
Really?
Exactly.
Oh, like truly happy.
Yeah, truly happy.
Right.
I think like they would be grateful.
Of course.
But like I know that it runs deeper than money.
Yes, it does.
People's like
well-being.
Yeah, exactly. And so that's and I realized, well, what am I doing this for then? And then I saw the church needs money. It's like, okay, this has radically changed my direction on life, but also my perspective. It's like now I'm not living for myself anymore, but I'm living for others.
Come on.
And not just my physical family, but helping to get people who are in the same position as me out, so they can, not be in this position of just like using women and just like going after empty endeavors.
Yes, slaves to sin.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So and I know we've sadly one of the things we share in common is just the love and the lust of the flesh and the worldliness and the multiple relationships prior. And I was working in business and doing things that are shameful to mention here, and we sadly resonated on that point together. And then you now see that England needs God. Not only you need God, but England needs God. London needs God. What do you have to say about really wanting to make a difference there?
Yeah, I mean, we all know the direction that the country is going in. I don't know one person that's saying that they're glad about the direction it's going in. And then even you look at like the rise of Islam in the UK.
Oh my goodness!
Right. And we even see the likes of Andrew Tate at one point claiming to be Muslim, and then a bunch of guys are like, "Okay, I'm gonna be Muslim now."
Wow.
And people are exiting the country. People are leaving. And they're going to Dubai because they're like, "Oh, this is done." But like this is like our soil.
Right.
Exactly.
My family are 100% English.
Right.
Like my roots are here.
Your ancestors fought for this country in many wars.
Exactly. And this country is known all over the world. Like we had the British Empire, and just to look at the shadow of a country it is now.
Does it make you emotional?
Makes me emotional.
Me too.
People don't take care of it, And like, how could I pick up and leave everything?
Ship.
I remember even before I became a Christian, I was having conversations with my flatmate. He was talking about moving to Thailand. I was like, what? So you can just bury your head in the sand and ignore what's going on? And he's from Ukraine. You've met him.
Yeah. I met him.
He came over here, and he is like, he's more upset about the country than a lot of English people are. It's like, wow, I moved here with a vision of what this would be like, and
the dream.
Exactly.
It's very disappointing.
The green rolling fields. I'm from the Midlands. I'm not from London. So you see the real England outside of London.
Yes, you do.
And you see beautiful hearts. Actually,
you see real English people,
very kind English people, and they're very accepting too of culture. That's one of the things I love about London is I've never seen a culture that accepts other cultures so openly. Like there's something beautiful. It's like the kingdom. You know what I mean? You can be Muslim, you can be Indian, you can be Russian, and you can actually keep your culture here. And it's really nice about the English. I think they allow you to be yourself.
But
so that's really nice. But there are some, and it's a country based on, that was originally Christian.
Exactly.
Yeah, of course.
Deeply Christian. Churchill, you know, he spoke some of the things that you've quoted.
Yeah.
He really wanted to keep that.
Yeah, a lot
narrative.
of people. Yeah, people don't, and that I think being an American, moving here now, I'm British actually, finding out that I feel, Matt, like I've had to remind English people how awesome they are, that they are not defined by the darkest chapter of their race. I don't think that's fair for any race to find the darkest chapter of their racial history and judge everyone based on that. We all know that there were definite bad things that happened, but it sure would be great to see a Netflix series on Wilberforce, the guys that didn't believe in the bad chapter. And I think being here, and even since I've been here, I've seen London really struggle. And there does need to be individuals willing to stay and be the spiritual Knights of Templar, if you will, and fight for what Churchill fought for. Most people don't hear this said. He said he wanted to fight this war against Hitler, not just to win, but because he wanted to preserve Christianity in this country. And everybody needs to bring your dinghy boats and get in the battle. And we know what happened. The battle was won. Had to go to America and get a little bit of help right there. So amen. Not once, but twice.
We need our allies.
So we need our allies. But what I admire about you is your willingness to stay here and fight the spiritual battle, the economic battle, to raise capital for the kingdom, to help programs that are going to help the knife crime be more knife crime that's biblical. The crime of, just cutting that crime out of their lives with the Bible, those things that'll really bring back an appreciation for England. And, God is amazing. He is awesome. And I'm so proud that there are men like you that are staying and fighting on both fronts for your faith, for England, for England.
The next generation as well.
For the next generation.
Yeah. How old are you?
Exactly, 26.
Oh, you're very young. Yeah, you're very young. That's awesome. You are this generation.
You're the future.
You're at your peak when you can really help so many people. And I think it's very noble that you're a young man with fantastic degree, parents, family, you're British, you're intelligent, you're handsome, you're healthy, and yet you want to put all of that and your own business. You've reached in many ways. Many men would love to be in your shoes, and yet you're willing to give those shoes to God and just go barefoot and just go, whatever you want, God. How do you want to use me, at my prime for your greater cause? And that is such a beautiful thing. And I love that you don't want to abandon ship, that you want to stay on board and just help proliferate, Christianity. And I just love that about your story. I never knew all of this. I have deep respect for you now, even more than I did. But you're highly disciplined as well. And I would love to talk to you about that as well, about how you have become, how you're so disciplined as a young man, because I think there's a lot of singles that need to learn some tricks.
Yes. And your thing about, I want to be the first guy that becomes a millionaire and puts himself into ministry. And I'm doing work here on a grassroots level in my country for world evangelism. Church isn't paying anything. I don't need church's money. I got money to put people on. Tell us a little bit about that.
About what exactly?
Just being able to get your company to a place that helps you to be able to
do more for God.
Yeah, do more for God.
Okay, I think, ultimately, the kingdom needs money, but it also needs workers. We say in the Bible that the workers are few. And I've just noticed, even having the life that I have, I can reach and have reached many people that, someone who was just in the ministry. Without that
Exactly.
example, they wouldn't listen to. A lot of the
Exactly.
people that I've studied the Bible with have been in there's a guy who's been in my shoes. He's had a real estate company and he's in sales. And even like people that I've met who are working lettings in Marylebone, other business owners, people that own fintech companies.
VC guys, angel funders.
Exactly.
These guys aren't hanging out at Queen Mary University or Pret a Manger,
Exactly.
or even maybe even riding a tube when we go for a sharing blitz. Yeah. So you being able to have access to these private spaces and be the Nehemiah, if you will,
Or the Daniels.
or the Daniels, and Josephs, and go
that
in
were
and
in the palaces.
Exactly.
Working closely with the kings.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So who's going to get into these rooms with these people that are just unreachable, like private members clubs and all the rest of it. And this is what I see. It's like I don't necessarily see myself putting myself in the ministry to share faith on campus, but be in a position where, okay, the business is now up and running. There are systems in place. I have friends that I've met with very similar businesses, and I'll go and meet up with them and say, what have you been doing? They're like, oh, I've just been in bed. It's like people get to a point where the business is just running
off.
itself.
And
And then
They have no
just
purpose.
do nothing,
Oh
and they
my
have no purpose.
gosh.
Or they'll go on to start another business, which is often the case. And then you have, people that have like several businesses, and the people that I've met that own like 10, 20 businesses, and they have agents that all manage all of them. But then what do? You just sit on a sun lounger, and this
That gets
was
boring real quick.
and this is what and this is what I thought about in terms of like growing the business. What is the finish line? What is the top of the mountain? What does that look like? How many supercars do I need to really be happy? And what am I going to be doing? Just like doing nothing,
right.
And this is why a lot of people like the likes of Andrew Tate. They're after power. They want influence. They want to be in politics. They want to be in the government because they think, okay, maybe I'll get power there. Maybe they want to influence the fabric of society as well.
Yes,
and I see that.
But they're doing it for their self-esteem.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
It's from
actually it's coming from a bit of a toxic place.
from a place of pride, right?
Yeah.
And so
And insecurity
that as well.
mixed, which is inside out pride, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah,
Insecurity is pride turned inside out.
I like that.
Yeah.
And that's good.
Yeah, which I think a lot of these guys are deeply insecure. Because why would they have to be so
So Matt, I
confident?
can't wait for all the fintech, VC funding, angel funding guys that you bring into the kingdom.
It's just a matter of time.
They're on their way.
It's just a matter of time.
Waiting for them, please.
Because your story, you can say,
this story.
I chose God, and now look at me now. You can say one day I've got. You're only 26. Like 10 years time, you could say I've got 5 businesses, and I could have 5 supercars. However, I have 5 churches that I funded that are helping youth, that are helping single mothers, that are helping people who are enslaved to drugs and alcohol, who are enslaved to sexual and porn addiction. I'm helping adolescents find true purpose and meaning.
So I was in
stopping self-harm, which we just interviewed someone that went through that. Mental health. This is the legacy that you're leaving. You know what I mean?
And I think this is huge, what you just said, and this whole desire from an English man to work at a grassroots level.
Exactly. We need people change and not system change.
Exactly.
People change, not system change. And we are so excited that Matt has changed. And we are fired up for all the fintech, all the billionaire Bitcoin guys, all the VC funders that you will baptize or become, and all those spaces where we will evangelize those people and give ourselves the opportunity to be the Joseph with all the grain so that we could really feed the nation,
the
God.
world. Yeah.
Feed the world, God. Thank you for your excellence,
Yes.
class, and your decision to be a true disciple.
Thank you for coming, Matt.
Thanks for having me on.